Any questions?
No.
Okay. What I'll do now is we understood yesterday two scenarios. Service was a little bit pending, so we completed now. So yesterday we understood subcontracting and we now understood services. There is one more special scenario called as consignment. Okay, we already know what is consignment. We discussed multiple times, but let's see the practical example of how consignment process works in SAP. So when it comes to consignment, how it is different than the other processes? How consignment process is different than the other normal material procurement?
In consignment, the consignment material basically belongs to the vendor, but it will be it will keep it in your premise, but it will belong to the vendor only, and there won't be any IR that will get posted, because what will happen, it will get posted only when you will be consuming that stock on the consignment stock. Then only it will show as a liability for your vendor. And the
Exactly.
other, you have to prepare the consignment info record, and the item category will be K.
All right. Let's assume I have a material, okay, which I want to buy under the consignment. I don't want to buy this material and I don't want to own. I will ask vendor to send some material, but I will book the liability of this material only when I consume that material. Okay, so in that case, what we need to do is, first of all, let me try to create a new material so that we are not getting confused with the existing materials that we have. So I'm saying RECH dash consignment. Okay, I'm just creating this material. Industry sector, I will say whatever it is, it will not make any difference. So chemical industry. Material type, let's say this is trading good. Okay, let me press enter. So I'm maintaining basic data 1, basic data 2, purchasing is also fine. What else? Yeah, I think this much is enough. If we require anything, we will come back. So this is my consignment material. I'll just select this. Unit of measurement, let's say it is each. Material group, whatever you want to provide. Okay, gross weight, net weight, we don't need to worry. I'm providing the valuation class. Okay, so for trading goods, normally we provide the valuation class is 3100. Okay, let me try to save it. Now I know that this particular material is normally provided to me by a particular vendor. Okay, and this vendor charges me, for example, this vendor charges me a particular amount, but that amount will be charged only when I will consume that material. So if I want to use this kind of process, I need to create a purchase info record for the category as consignment. Okay, which means I have to create a purchase info record. I will go to transaction ME11. And here what I need to do is I need to tell the system which vendor provides me this material, okay, under the consignment. Okay, so for this particular purchase organization, RC01, for this particular plant, I want to maintain the info record. So let me press enter. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just maintain the information which is related to my combination of material and vendor. So for example, the plant delivery date is 2 days. Standard quantity, let's assume standard quantity of this purchase order is, let's say, 1 day. I'm not restricting anything here. And let's assume my net price at which I'm going to get this material from the vendor is, let's say, 1000 INR per unit. Okay. Also, yeah, you need to maintain the purchasing group. Okay. Also, if taxes are applicable in your scenario, you have to enter the tax code also here itself. Okay. What you can do is here itself in this configuration itself, you can maintain the tax code. Why I'm saying you to maintain the tax code? Because what will happen is vendor liability will be booked automatically. When we are doing the Miro, we have the option of selecting the tax code. But for consignment, the Miro booking would be done automatically based on the total consumption. Okay, and the system will not be able to provide you the option to provide the tax code manually, and that is the reason normally we enter the tax code here itself. So let's assume I'm telling the system tax code V2 is applicable whenever this vendor is providing us this material. So net price is 1000 plus whatever taxes is applicable in V2 that would be chargeable to us. Okay, all other things I'm keeping as it is. I'm not changing anything. I'm just entering the plant delivery time. I'm entering the tax code and I'm entering the net price. Let me just save this. So now this purchase info record has been created. Now let's assume I am creating a purchase order. Okay, because I want 10 quantity of this material. So I will select the same vendor from which I'm buying the consignment material, and my item category, okay, for consignment material would be K, right? Which material I want to buy? I want to buy this RECH- consignment material, this one. How much quantity? Let's say I'm buying 10 quantity. Okay, price and all information, even if I don't provide, that is fine, because anyways I'm not vendor is not charging me directly. I already maintained this information in my purchase info record that whenever I'm going to consume any material out of this 10 quantity, what charges will be applied to my account. How much vendor is going to charge me, that is already maintained in the purchase info record. Okay, so let me just press enter. All are warning messages which can be ignored. So I'll just try to click on save. So I've created this purchase order as a consignment purchase order, which means when I receive my material, when I do the MIGO, system will not show this as a valuated stock in my books, because this is not my stock, this is vendor stock which is available with me. Okay, and that is the reason system will not generate any valuation document against this particular goods receipt. So I will do the good receipt against a particular purchase order. Which purchase order? The one that we just now created. Okay, so for this particular material, this is a purchase order that we created just now. Enter. So you can see system is allowing us to do the good receipt of this particular material. So if you come down, click on item OK and try to save this or try to post this, system is generating the material document. If I want to see this material document, I'll click on display. I'll go to material document and this is what was generated just now. Okay, and if I click on document info and go to FI document, see what you are getting. FI document is not created. Why FI document is not created? Because this material is not, the ownership of this material is not changed. We are not going to show this valuation in our stock. Okay, so FI document is not at all created, which means if I go to MMBE, what do you think? I'll be able to see this stock or not? I've done the GR. Will the system
under consignment stock?
It will show under consignment stock. So if I execute this, I'll be able to see this quantity, but it will clearly show me that this is under this vendor consignment. So 10 quantity available under this vendor consignment. If I double click on this, it will show me which vendor has provided this material. This material is the owner. Who is the owner of this material? So ultimately it is available in our stocks, but it is still the owner is this supplier, because he has not sold to us. He has just kept his material in our warehouse. Whenever we are consuming this material, then only we are liable to pay to this supplier. Okay, so till the time you are not consuming, no need to worry, it will be just available in your stock, but it will not be valuated in your stock. Okay, now let's assume I want to consume this material. Okay, whatever you want to do, you want to issue against a production order, or you want to issue against a sales order, or you wanted to issue just because of any other reason. First of all, whatever quantity you want to issue, you have to move it from the consignment stock. So in order to move this material from the consignment stock, we will need to go to transaction MIGO. There were old transactions, as I told you yesterday also, there were many transactions in ECC which we were using for different purpose. So for example, if I want to move the consignment stock, there was a separate transaction altogether. Those were starting with transaction MB and there were some different codes. Now any transaction starting with MB is no more available in S4HANA and everything can be done using a single transaction, that is Migo, right? So what I'll do is I will do the transfer posting. What do you mean by transfer posting? Transfer posting means within the same plant, I want to transfer the material from consignment to the normal stock. Okay, so what I'll do is transfer posting. System will automatically consider other here, and this movement type is very important. Okay, movement type, if you see, there are a lot of movement types and every movement type has a different purpose. So when it comes to the movement type, where I am telling the system that I'm moving the material from consignment stock to my own stock, there are a lot of different movement types available, but the one that we normally use is transfer posting, this one 411. Okay, it will come automatically. As soon as you select the transfer posting, this 411 will come automatically. Now it is asking you from where you want to move to where you want to move. So this is a source and this is a destination. So which material I want to move? I want to material this RECH consignment. From which plant I want to move? I want to move from RC01. From which storage location I want to move? I want to move from this storage location S001. And which material you want to move? Is it a special stock? What do you mean by special stock? Special stock means if you see F4, these are all the materials which are the special stock. So if it is a subcontracting stock or it is a consignment stock, so you can see for consignment, it is K. So we are telling the system that the material which is available in this plant, in this storage location, which is currently under the special stock, I want to move it to the destination. If I press enter, okay, so you can see, you can enter the destination here. So same material is my destination, which is RECH dash consignment. Okay, press enter. You can see system is automatically able to determine the description. Here I will enter the storage location to where I want to move. So this is my storage location. Okay, so I'm clearly telling the system I want to move the material which is consignment stock to the normal stock. How much quantity you want to move? So if you come to material, it will show you the material. If you go to quantity, it will ask you how much quantity you want to move. So let's assume I want to move 2 quantity. Out of the total quantity is 10. I want to move this 2 quantity in my normal stock so that I can later on use it for the issue purpose. If you go to where, it will ask you the storage locations, and these are some important fields. Who is a good recipient? So we can maintain some of the fields as mandatory and optional. In this case, good recipient and text is a mandatory field. So let's say I'm just writing test in this mandatory fields. Once this is done, in account assignment, let's see if something is being asked. Otherwise, let's try to click on check first. Okay, it is asking you the cost center. This cost center will only come into the picture if you are consuming something. Okay, but otherwise, just provide the normal cost center and we will see what is getting posted in the cost center. So now if I click on check, enter the vendor for the special stock key. So we are not provided the information which is a vendor. If I have multiple vendors who have provided me this material in consignment, I need to tell the system which vendor's material I want to move. Okay, so I want to move the material of which vendor? I want to move the material of this particular vendor. I think this one, first one. Okay, let's again click on check. So now document seems okay. If I try to click on post, system will generate the transfer posting. Okay, you can see material document has been posted. What does it mean? It means now if I go to my material document, let's go to display. And if I want to display the document which just now posted, execute. So it will show you the material movement, that the movement has taken place from consignment material to the normal material. If I go to document info and click on the FI document, you can see accounting document has been created for 2 quantity. If I double click on this, see what is happening. That is the reason system has asked you the cost center, because the material is coming in your stock. Stock account is getting debited and there is a corresponding transaction KON. Okay, this KON is a transaction which is a corresponding entry which would be posted. So normally, I think this should be the balance sheet account. This should not be the profit and loss. In this one, I assigned in KON. That is the reason you are able to see this 4002. But normally, what should be the case here? Which GL account should be booked here? Stock account debit. What should be booked here? It should be consignment payables, right? Control account. Right. So what we need to do is maybe I need to change this in OBYC and I need to maintain the separate GL account instead of COGS. So what I can do is I can simply, first of all, I'll create a new GL account for consignment payables, which is my liability account. So new 1005. Okay, this is not a recon account. This is just a temporary account like GRIR. So balance sheet, liabilities. This is consignment payables. Okay, no need to specify here. Here I will just enter G001, which is a normal special field status group. Okay, and this one I'll go to OBYC now. Here I will go to KON. You can see KON, consignment payables. So double click on this. For your chart of account, you can maintain according to the different valuation classes, you can maintain the different GL accounts. In our case, we created the material with valuation class 3100. So here I'm maintaining the GL, debit and credit GL for that particular combination. So it is liability 1005, I think, the one that we created. Yes, 1005. Okay, here also I'll select 1005. Now what will happen is next time this document is already posted, so can't change this document, or maybe I need to reverse and need to repost again. But let's assume again I'm going to transfer. I am doing additional. First of all, let's see the stock position. What would be the stock position now? How much quantity it will show and where exactly it will show the quantity?
It will be shown in your own stock, not in the consignment.
How much?
You book for 2, I guess. I didn't notice that.
Right. Yeah, we booked for 2. So it will show you 2 quantity in our stock and 8 quantity will still be in the vendor consignment stock. Right, you can see 2 is unrestricted and 8 is still available under the vendor consignment. Okay, after making the changes, I just wanted to show you which GL account should come here. So I'm doing one Migo again. I'm doing another transfer posting, sorry. And 411 is fine. Which material? So I want this material to come from the special stock. Okay, I need to specify the vendor. And I want to bring this to the normal stock. Okay, so this material to this storage location. How much quantity? Let's assume another 2 quantity. Where is fine. Okay, I need to specify the good recipient. So test and the text field as test. Okay, account assignment. Let me just try cost center and try to check. So item is okay. Let me try to post it. The material document has been posted. If I click on display and go to this material document, now I should be having the consignment payables GL account posting. Okay, you can see stock account has been debited and consignment payable account has been credited. Okay, and now if I go to the stock position, I should be able to see 4 quantities available in my normal stock and 6 quantity is still belonging to the vendor consignment. Okay, and obviously now we need to book the liability. Okay, vendor is not going to send any invoice. Vendor doesn't know how much you consumed. You are going to book your liability on your own. Right? It is not like the normal Miro where the vendor is sending you the invoice. You have to book the liability based on how much material you consumed. So for that, there is a transaction code, MRKO. Okay, this transaction code, what it will do is it will give you the settlement. It will allow you to do the settlement. First of all, it will tell you how much for a particular vendor. Let's assume I want to see for this particular vendor, how much is my total consignment payables. Okay, this one. I want to display or I want to settle. When I say display, it will just show. It will not perform any posting. Okay, so for company code this one, vendor this one, I'm removing the pipeline. If you are using the pipeline functionality, then also it works almost same. So here you need to select on pipeline. If you just execute, system will show you that these are the two different documents which are posted, okay, and which we need to post, which we need to book the liability under the vendor account. Okay, as of now, you can see it is not settled. We have still not performed the settlement of these two consumptions that we have booked. If you want to use this now, if you want to settle it, which means if you want to book the liability to the vendor, you will come here and you will click on the settle. Okay, when you execute it, now what will the system do? System will generate the accounting document. Okay, before that, you can see it is giving some error. It is saying no taxes on sales and purchase are allowed for account 1005. This is a GL account that we created just now. System is by default taking the tax code V2 we maintain in the purchase info record, right? But for this GL account which we created, we are not allowed to use any tax code. So in the GL account, there is a configuration, there is a setting which we need to tell the system that whether this GL account is allowed for any tax codes or not. So if I go to my liabilities account 1005 in control data, there is this functionality where you need to specify the tax category. Here you need to tell the system whether the tax codes are allowed or not. So if you do F4, it will give you a lot of options. Only input tax allowed, all the types of taxes are allowed. So normally we go with this one star, where we say all the type of taxes are allowed, and even I'm ticking on this indicator where I'm telling the system, even if I don't maintain the tax code, system should not give any error. So posting without taxes are also allowed for this GL account. Okay, let me save this. So now the error that we are getting in the settlement will go away if I go back and try to post it once again. Execute. You can see the document number has been created. Okay, a single document is created. If I have multiple, if I'm settling all together, then the single document will be created or for all the 4 quantity. If I open this document, you can see this is the accounting document where the vendor has been charged with 4720. Not charged, actually, vendor is going to charge us. So we are booking the liability of this vendor. COGS, because initially we posted one document in COGS, another one you can see in consignment payables. Okay, and the GST is applicable. That is the reason system is able to calculate the GST part also. Right, so the liability is getting booked automatically. We are not expecting the Miro document here. We are not expecting the vendor will send us the invoice, because vendor doesn't know how much amount of quantity we already consumed. Based on what we consumed, maybe on the monthly basis, based on the total consumption, we perform this settlement and we book the liability, and finally we pay to the vendor.